scramble into 210 now.
And we are just getting ready to pull the airplane out of the hangar, and just to give you a look at what kind of conditions we're looking at, is an absolutely gorgeous day. VFR conditions between here and our destination, high clouds, temperature in the low 40s, absolutely beautiful. Okay, we just started recording. I've got the GoPro set at 2.7K with, I didn't set it on wide angle this time. I set it on medium. I think it gives a little bit better perspective of the pilot's point of view. So we're going to give that a try, and we have the audio going directly into the GoPro from the PA system. So let's see how that works out on our flight today up to Concrete, Washington. Okay, we're going to run through our checklist here for the run-up. Toe brakes are set. Boarding equipment is on and set. Seats and seatbelts are in place. And trims, we're going to set neutral for takeoff, and that is set. Flight controls free and correct, checking right side and left side. And elevators. And that's free and correct. Directional gyro showing 185 degrees. Set that on our G. And we'll check the DG on the runway as well. 185 is set. Artificial horizon is set. Altimeter is set. Field elevation 295. Fuel quantity is sufficient and balanced. We just filled up with 36 gallons. Primers in and lock. Mixture we're setting to full rich. That is set. Throttle 1,800. And there's 1,800. Checking right magneto. And a drop of about 75 back to both. And left side check. Same drop seen. Back to both. And carb heat pull, looking for slight drop. That is seen. And gyro suction gauge is in the green. Oil pressure, fuel pressure in the green. Oil temps in the green and coming up. All right, we're checking idle. Looking for engine smoothness and verifying engine instruments in the green. And we're good there, back to 1,000. Go ahead and check off those items. And fuel on. Landing light on. Fuel pressure recheck. That is good. Radio's and avionics set. Set tower frequency. 1185 is set. Transponder. Walk altitude. And VFR set. iPad verify connection verified. Route set. And route is set. Lights are set. Flaps are set for takeoff. Cabin door latch, tops and bottoms. Window is secure. Fuel selector timer is set. Time is noted. And fuel selector set to the fullest tank.
Warrior 33363, Tacoma Tower, continue approach.
And we're taxiing up to the whole shoreline. So we're taking off runway 17. Departure is going to be to the north. Most likely he'll put us in a right downwind departure. To the north. Tacoma Tower, Cherokee 7428 Romeo, holding short runway 17.
Cherokee 7428 Romeo, Tacoma Tower, make a left downwind departure, runway 17, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 17, left downwind departure, 28 Romeo.
Skyhawk 51 Charlie, runway 17, clear touch and go.
Runway 17, clear for touch and go, system 51 Charlie.
All right, almost windless here, but it's doing up north. Again, we'll check the directional gyro on the roll. And looking for 17170 is set. Feet off the brakes and full power. Looking for engine instruments there in the green.
Number 2, follow Cessna left downwind approaching base runway 17, cleared low approach.
And power is available for takeoff. Airspeed indicators alive. Looking for 75 rotation. Coming up on 75, and there it is. And gently off the ground, maintaining runway heading. And VY climb at 85. Then we're going to make a left turn out for left downwind departure to the north.
Sky 51 Charlie, start your base.
Good rate of climb. We're climbing out at 1,000 feet per minute. Happy with that.
Warrior 363, traffic now left base.
Look at the traffic, Warrior 363.
Just a little bit of bumpiness, not bad at all. Coming up on 800 feet. And there's 900. And starting a left turn out. We're going to climb up to 3,000. And we're going to roll out right there, briefly.
Tacoma Tower,
Continuing our
Skyhawk,
climb.
1646 Charlie, holding short 17, ready to depart.
Skyhawk 1646 Charlie, Tacoma Tower, hold short of the runway.
Holding short 17, 46 Charlie.
And making our left downwind turn to reciprocal heading of 350. And there's 350 rolling out. There's 1,500. And there's the airport down below us, if you can see that on the GoPro. And traffic alert, traffic at 10 o'clock, 1 nautical mile, 1,300 feet below. We'll keep an eye out for that guy. Up on 2,000.
Tacoma Tower, Cessna 1651 Charlie, this is going to be a full stop, terminate.
Skyhawk 51 Charlie, roger.
Warrior 33363, northwest.
Warrior 363, roger.
And that's a guy on an instrument approach for runway 17, executing a missed approach procedure. We just did that the other day. The ILS has been out here at Tacoma Narrows. They must have it back up again.
Skyhawk 46 Charlie, make left close traffic, runway 17, clear for takeoff.
There's 2,500, looking for 3,000.
Clear for takeoff, 46 Charlie.
Warrior 363, contact Seattle departure.
Seattle departure for Warrior 363.
And we're still in Delta airspace. We're going to stay on 118.5 for the time being. There's 2,800. All right, there's 3,000. We're leveling out. There's Vashon Island right there to our right, and pulling the power back to cruise 2,300 RPMs. Go ahead and trim.
Cherokee 28 Romeo, frequency approved.
28 Romeo, roger, thanks, good day.
Sky 51 Charlie, runway 17, cleared to land.
Clear land, we're on 1751 Charlie.
Okay, trimmed up. I'm going to go ahead and lean for the best power. Right there. And checklist. Cruise checklist is complete. Fuel pump is off. We're leaned and we're set to the correct fuel tank. And proceeding on course. Just clearing the Delta airspace on our northbound trek to Concrete, Washington. There's the Cascade, the Olympic Mountains off there to the left with the snow caps. And to the right, the Cascade Mountains. And we're journeying our course to our first waypoint. Looking down at the, there's there looks like a burn going on down there. It's not a smokestack. I see some smoke. Very little wind down at ground level. And very little wind, frankly, even here at 3,000. We have inbound traffic that's going to be at our 12 o'clock here once we make our turnout. Most likely inbound for Tacoma Narrows. Okay, it's going to add a little bit of power here. Monitor our exhaust gas temperature. It's looking good. Manifold pressure is looking good. Nice smooth air up here. Turning on course, heading 350.
Skyhawk 46 Charlie, number 2, follow Cessna, short final runway 17, clear to land.
Number 2, 17, clear to land, 46 Charlie.
Yeah, most likely that traffic inbound is going to be landing at Tacoma Narrows. I go a little bit left of my course here, just to give him some room to get past there without creating any conflict. He's at my altitude right now. He's minus 800 actually. We're probably going to be okay. Okay, turning, heading 350. Yeah, he's no factor. He's minus 900 feet. See that right there? I don't know. On the, yeah, there's the traffic alert. 12 o'clock, 2 nautical miles, 900 below.
Tower, Cessna 520 Papa Lima at 2000 on the RNAV 17.
Cessna 520 Papa Lima, Tacoma Tower, continue approach.
Okay, that's the guy that we're looking at right now.
Continue approach, 0 Papa Lima.
He's on an RNAV
Cessna
approach.
51 Charlie, contact ground point 8.
Contact ground point 8.
If you can see him passing right there, we'll see him below us. There he is. You can see him passing right there below us. Again, no factor. Okay, everything's looking good. Speed over ground is 121, just a slight tailwind. Go ahead and check the winds aloft. And the wind's at 3,000 feet. We're looking at 239 at 2 knots, which is really almost nothing. So it's a little bit from our left, but barely any wind. Remarkably little wind up at 3,000.
Attention aircraft information, Romeo, current altimeter 3046.
046 is set. Okay, our first checkpoint, and I picked VFR checkpoints a couple of reasons. One is to keep us, I want to stay underneath the Bravo shelf where the bottom of the shelf is 5,000. The next shelf, which would be just to the east of us, is 3,000. This allows us to fly at 3,000 without having to worry about penetrating into the Bravo airspace. And there, if you can see it, is downtown Seattle off to the right side there with the Space Needle on the left side of the downtown there. Again, I'm hoping that because I changed the field of view to a narrower setting, you might be able to see some of the things that the pilot POV, or from my perspective, that I can see. Wide angle doesn't really allow you to do that. Of course, the disadvantage is you don't get as wide of a view inside the cockpit, but we'll see how this looks when it's uploaded to YouTube. And I think today I'm going to add a flight once we get to concrete and go ahead and get our passport stamped there before I head over to Arlington to refuel the airplane.
Charlie, runway 17, taxi via Alpha, remain this frequency.
We're going to fly to another airport just south of concrete that's also a Fly Washington passport participating airport. And they're off to the left, if you can see it, in that harbor, is Bremerton Naval Shipyard. It's an aircraft carrier and 2, hard to say, they might be guided missile destroyers or guided missile cruisers that are in port down there. And we'll be coming out over the water here shortly. And just leaving Vashon Island, which is below us to the right. So we're on heading 353 degrees, bearing to the next waypoint 352, and the next waypoint is 18 nautical miles. I'm going to put a little bit of heat on here The outside air temperature is about 38 degrees Fahrenheit. So I've got the winterization plate installed on the oil cooler just to allow the engine to run a little bit warmer. If you see over here is the oil temperature gauge. I like to run it right around 180. It's below that right now, but if we had that winterization plate off, it would be even lower. And that's not desirable. You want the oil to reach a healthy operating temperature. But if it gets too low, it can create some issues as well. One of which is that moisture inside, there's traffic at 1 o'clock. I see it right down there. You may not be able to see it on the GoPro. At 1 o'clock, 2 nautical miles, he's well below us and no factor. If the oil temperature gets too low, as water vapor enters the engine, it doesn't vaporize with heat, and so it can accumulate inside the engine, and that's obviously undesirable. So you want to run the oil temperature in a healthy range, and it vaporizes that moisture and allows it to be purged out of the engine. So we are looking at just about 22 minutes on the right tank so far. We'll switch it over here in another few minutes. Now, up until today, I've been recording the audio through the iPad using a program called FlightLink, which is a program provided by Lightspeed. The headset I'm using is a Zulu 3 Lightspeed headset, and that was working great. The only issue that I had with it is, number one, whenever I hooked the airplane power to charge the iPad, you would get a lot of RF, radio frequency interference, in your audio recording. Some of my earlier experiment videos using the POV camera, you can hear that in the background. I eliminated that problem by disconnecting the power.
Lake Union traffic, Otter 50 Kilo Alpha is climbing out north, departure out of Lake Union.
Yeah, so anyway, I eliminated that issue, but the secondary issue was that whenever I uploaded those videos, I had to synchronize the separate recording, the audio recording with the video recording. This now eliminates that because I'm recording directly from the PA system. Not this one, but the rear PA system I showed in the video a little bit ago. And that's going directly into the GoPro. So I did some tests with it, was real happy with it, and hopefully it works out well for us on today's flight. There's downtown Seattle, if you can see that. And then there's some SeaTac airline traffic right there, off to the right.
Lake Union traffic, Otter 50 Kilo Alpha is the Mount Lake at 1,000 feet eastbound.
Langley traffic, CB217 Golf over Langley for the left downwind for 34, Langley.
Okay, 12 nautical miles to our first checkpoint, and that's going to be Kingston, out on a point along the shoreline there. Super smooth air.
Washington traffic, Otter 50 Kilo Alpha is Webster Point, turning northbound Lake Washington.
Yep, that's a seaplane landing on Lake Washington. Quite a bit of seaplane traffic on Lake Washington and Lake Union. The directional gyro in this airplane takes a little while to stabilize. Of course, it's a gyro instrument, and naturally gyro instruments take a little while to spin up and stabilize. It takes a little longer in this case because it's an older instrument. But once it gets stabilized after probably 15 or 20 minutes, it's super accurate. But the first 10 or 15 minutes, you constantly have to monitor and make adjustments to it. Right now showing 351 here, and our ground track is 352.
Downwind for 34, Langley.
So if you could see that, that's the shelf that we're flying under, 5,000 to 10,000 feet right here. And then we're going to be entering into a 5,000 to 7,000. Doesn't really change anything for us. Our main concern is going to be the floor of the Class Bravo. We want to make sure we stay underneath that. The only way you can get into Bravo is getting a clearance to fly into the Bravo after contacting either approach control or Seattle Tower. Now, I was kind of bummed they did away with, they had some VFR flyways that would go directly over SeaTac. In fact, one of my videos is flying the Seahawk transition from west to east right over SeaTac, over the threshold of runway 16. But I'm told that they've discontinued that, which is really a bummer, because it gave you a way to fly west to east, east to west, without having to fly under or around the Class Bravo. And the other thing, it was really cool just to fly right over SeaTac and see all the commercial traffic coming and going underneath you. Maybe they'll restore it at some point, but it was always a workload permitting arrangement.
Langley traffic, White City turning left base for 34, Langley.
And I probably requested it a half a dozen times and only got it once. The rest of the time it was denied based on workload, so I get it. Priority goes to IFR traffic, and that's a, needless to say, busy airport. They can still accommodate you in other ways, VFR flight following. For the most part, if you talk to controllers, they really prefer...
Langley traffic, White City turning final for 34, Langley.
They really prefer that you do talk to them. They'd rather know who you are rather than guessing and being unsure of what your intentions are. So in this case, I'm not too concerned about it. I'm pretty far out in the outer shelf and flying a steady and predictable course, well clear of any incoming and outgoing traffic, which is part of why I designed the route today the way I did. Okay, we're 4.7 from Kingston. It's coming up here at our 12 o'clock. You see that harbor down there? That's going to be Kingston. Little harbor town. I fly over all these towns I've never been to and may not ever go to, and on the ground anyway. There's a lot of pretty little towns sprinkled around here, around the Puget Sound. Ground speed's 120, not too shabby. And 3.4 from Kingston. Be coming out over the water here shortly. Just gave the airplane a little bit of rudder trim. There. 1.8. Then our next waypoint is really the last waypoint before our turn toward the airport in Concrete, Deers Field. So, I don't know if you can see that, but this is the shelf that we're flying under right now, the 5 to 7,000, and then shortly thereafter we're going to be coming into this one, which is 6 to 7. Again, none of those are going to affect our plan. All right, we're over Kingston now. Alright, we're going to switch tanks. And reset the timer for 30 minutes. 30 minutes is about 8 gallons. Alright, switching from right to left tank. And set. Bearing to the next waypoint's 358, so we're making a slight right turn here. For the most part, our glide advisor is going to be over land during the entire flight, at least portions of it. Traffic 1 o'clock, 2 nautical miles, 700 above. And we'll keep an eye out for that guy. I'm seeing him here. He's to our right. There he is. That is a business jet flying above us there. See him? Coming out most likely of Boeing Field. Or potentially from Payne Field. I didn't watch his track prior to him passing in front of us, so I don't know that for certain. All right, over the water now. Adding a little bit of heat to the equation here. And we're just about due north right now. Next waypoint, let's see what we got in here. Oh, maybe I do have an intermediate waypoint. Yeah. Okay. Is 12 miles.
Camino traffic, helicopter 5 Bravo November, 2 to the east, 1,200, and we're southwest bound, Camino.
Camino Island. That's an airport I haven't been into. They don't participate in the Fly Washington passport program. But I would like to fly in there nonetheless one day. These airports in the San Juan Islands are really beautiful, and you can land your airplane and walk right into the town in some cases. In others, you would have to get some form of transportation. Certainly Roach Harbor and Friday Harbor, you can walk right into the downtown. And 10 nautical miles to our next waypoint. And as you can see, if you can see glide advisor here, we're able to land if we had any kind of engine emergency. We could make landfall either ahead of us or behind us, as the case may be. I'm going to switch over now to ASOS at the nearest airport.
60 at 6 knots. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition scattered at 10,000. Temperature 13 Celsius. Dew point 5 Celsius. Altimeter 3044 inches of mercury. Remarks?
Be advised, on Thursday, February 27th, from the hours of 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m., there will be crane operations 1,500 feet north of runway 29 threshold, 125-foot maximum height.
To the west. Langley. And Langley traffic, November.
Skagit Regional Airport, automated weather observation 2011 Zulu. Wind 160 at 6 knots. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition scattered at 10,000. Temperature 13 Celsius.
Okay, so at least at Skagit, the winds are 160. You can make a somewhat reasonable prediction that we'll probably be landing on runway 25 up at Mears. It's really 6 of one, half dozen the other, because it looks like it'll be, if that's what it is at Mears, at Concrete, Washington, it would be a direct crosswind coming from the left if you're landing 25 and from the right if you're landing 07. But it's much more reliable to obviously either listen to traffic landing and departing if there is any at Mears Field, or we'll just overfly the airport and take a look at the windsock, which is the safest bet, again, if you're not hearing any pilot traffic going into or out of Mears. Okay, 4.9 to our next waypoint.
Regional Airport, automated weather observation 2013 Zulu. Wind 160 at 6 knots. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition scattered at 10,000.
There's going to be some air traffic at our 12 o'clock. Looks like he's minus 1,800, so shouldn't be
Toledo
a factor.
traffic, Skyline 251 for Gulf Center, straight in, left downwind, runway 6.
So right now we're over Whidbey Island. I see some air traffic there below us. Right now at our 10 o'clock, well below us. And I'm seeing him here, he's minus 2,000 feet. I see him on our ADSB. Another one at 1,600 below us at our 12 o'clock. Shouldn't be a factor because he's in front of us now, but his direction of travel is going to be off to our right. Just making some fine-tune adjustments there on our fuel air mixture. Off to our left is Whidbey Air Park. Right there below us, as a matter of fact, if you can see it. And I landed there once. That's right down in the trees right there on Whidbey Island. Boy, coming in, first time coming in there from the air. It looks like a little postage stamp cut into the forest. And we're also coming up on Langley, which I think is a grass strip just below us. A little bit earlier I heard some air traffic.
Langley traffic,
departing.
8144 Victor on downwind for, left downwind for 16 Langley.
Langley traffic, Turkey 7428 Romeo is transitioning from south to north 3000 directly over the airport, Langley traffic. And when the weather starts getting better, I want to start tackling some of the airports that are on the other side of the Cascade Mountains. It probably could, on a day like today, you could do that because of the weather conditions. The high pressure system that's sitting over a very wide area. But in the summertime, I think the weather is even more consistently better for flying over the mountains. Start landing at some of the other Fly Washington airports on the other side of the Cascades. Everything I've done to this point has been on this side, the west side of the Cascades, and today I believe will be the 34th airport, 34th and 35th if I end up flying into that other airport just south. Can't remember the name of it right now. Just south of Deersfield.
Frontier traffic, RV5 Delta Juliet, 5 mile initial for the left overhead, break 34, Frontier.
At 10, altimeter 30.
Frontier traffic,
RV5 Delta Julia, 2 mile initial for overhead left brake 34. Frontier.
Got 20 minutes remaining now on the left tank. And the way I set this is 30-minute intervals on each tank, and that's approximately 4 gallons, a little bit less, but I always err on the side of caution and assume it's going to use 4 gallons for every 30-minute interval. Of course, I got the fuel gauges now working. They weren't there for a little bit. The left fuel gauge was stuck, and I found out that it was the glass plate, it's actually plexiglass plate, was putting pressure on the indicator, the needle. So all I had to do is put a spacer in there.
Delta Juliet, over the numbers for overhead left brake 34 over Frontier.
Looking at 24 now miles to the next waypoint, which is right at that right turn that goes through the valley.
Frontier traffic, RV5 Delta Juliet, left down 134 Frontier. Frontier traffic, RV5 Delta Juliet, left base 34 Frontier. Frontier traffic, RV5 Delta Juliet, turning final 34 Frontier.
So I'm keeping an eye right now on the elevations that are ahead of us on the profile view in the flight plan. And if we need to make some adjustments in our present heading, we certainly will do that. There's a few bumps. Most likely caused by the temperature differentials between land and the body of water that's directly below us. Periodically I check the AHARS view, the attitude heading reference system view, just to make sure that the terrain in front of us is not going to present a hazard to our direction of flight and altitude.
Diamond Point traffic, Cessna 8397 Juliet, over Protection Island, inbound.
Again, there's some of that bumpiness that I was telling you about. Doing 129 over ground now, which is great. Of course, the return flight's going to look a little bit different for us. We're probably going to be getting a headwind here at 3,000. 18 to go, next waypoint. Just past Mount Vernon. More bumps. Making some adjustments to our trim.
Diamond Point traffic, Cessna 8397 Juliet. It looks like wind favoring 29. We'll be on entering on a downwind 29, Diamond Point.
Frontier traffic, back for Frontier.
I'm going to divert just a little bit here to the left. I'll fly over this roadway. So we're not precisely going to be following our original flight plan, which is fine. I just want to stay away from, although we're at an altitude that was sufficiently clear, the terrain in front of us, deliberately avoiding it just to avoid some of the thermal activity that's coming off that mountain there in front of us. So I'm going to fly this roadway here and then make a right turn out.
907 Juliet, turning base to final.
So there to our left is Whidbey Island and the Whidbey Island Naval Air Station. Their airspace is just off of our left wing.
Crispin, I'm over St. Helens. We're headed east.
I just added a waypoint there over the town of Mount Vernon. And then we'll make a right turn out to our waypoint at Cedro Woolley. Okay. So there they have runway 7 and 25, no wind information. Let's give a listen again to Skagit.
0 at 7 knots. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition broken at 10,000. Temperature 13 Celsius. Dew point 5 Celsius. Altimeter 3044 inches of mercury. Skagit Regional Airport. Automated weather observation 2024 Zulu. Wind 170 at 7 knots. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition broken at...
Okay, it's kind of helpful. Generally, we're expecting the wind coming from the south. And their head is, there's a body of water and then a ridge just beyond it. And it's, I believe, going to be just past that ridge. We're going to be making a right turn and flying through that valley. That's the town of Mount Vernon, Burlington. And I set a new waypoint in there. That would be the town of Burlington, and it's 6 nautical miles ahead of us. The pattern altitude it mirrors is 1,300. So at the appropriate time, we'll begin our descent so we can enter the pattern. Actually, initially, I'm probably going to descend to pattern altitude and take a look at the windsock. Sometimes they're hard to spot. We'll do our best. Another thing I sometimes do if I'm at pattern altitude is I'll take a look at my ground speed and compare that to my indicated airspeed, which a lot of times will give you an indication of whether you are experiencing a tailwind or a headwind. It's not exact science, but it can give you a general indication. Okay, 4 to go to, again, the new waypoint I just set. And then we're going to head over there, through those mountains, into that valley. there's Skagit Field off. They're about 10 o'clock right now, and that's where we're planning on flying into, I believe that's what, no, I think we plan on flying into Arlington to fuel up, yeah, Arlington, a little bit further south of us, just based on the fuel price. It's always a challenge flying into new airports, becoming familiar to the extent you can with what the terrain looks like. In my case, using the 3D view on FlightLink, 3D flight planning to show your route of flight, those sorts of things. Looking at the aeronautical sectional, looking at the terrain, the surrounding terrain. So there's the river down below us. We're for the most part going to follow the river. Pull some heat on here. Outside air temperatures still steady at about 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Looking for any indication of wind direction down on the ground. So there's some. I see either a smokestack or a burn. And generally speaking, it looks like the wind is coming from the east, which if that's the case, we would be making a straight-in landing on 07. So generally speaking, we'll plan on that, see if we get some better indication of wind direction here as we proceed. Yeah, that looks like a wind from the east. Which, if that's the case, it's great. We could just go straight in, land, get our stamp, and be on our way. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous day. There are some clouds laying down in there. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Looks like they're kind of hugging that mountain range. So I'm hoping it's not a factor. If it is, we just turn around. And in that case, I would go directly to Arlington, fuel up, and head south. Okay, we're coming up on what I had as an original waypoint before I made that modification. Over Cedro Woolley. VFR reporting point. About just below us right now. There is Pretty Valley. Of course, there was no ATIS at the airport we're going to, Mearsfield, so I had to rely on Skagit, which is now about at our 6 o'clock. So we really won't know exactly what the weather conditions on the ground are going to be until we get pretty close to the airport.
Toledo traffic, Skyhawk 789 over office, 10 miles north. We'll be lining up for runway 6, Toledo.
Toledo's way south of here. Surprised we're actually hearing that traffic. 5 minutes to go on that tank. Okay, we're 18 miles now from the airport. 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 18 miles now from the airport hopefully it'll be VFR for us going in there. Like I said, if not, we'll go with our plan B. Looking for other indications of wind direction. Smoke, flags, anything down on the ground that I can determine ground level wind direction would be helpful. Pretty sure I'm looking at the cutout that I saw in the 3D planning view right at 11 o'clock. And 16 to go, doing 113 over ground. There you can see plenty of snow up at, well, I'm going to guess and say at about the 5,000 foot level. We're at 3 now, and that looks like about 2,000 above us, maybe a little less. Well, maybe it is around 3,500. Outside air temperature, about 39 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to start a very gentle descent here. I'll take it down to 2,000 and see how things look up ahead. Pretty good chance I will not be flying to that other airport to the south, which is fine. I'll pick that up another day. And the reason I say that is I see some clouds laying in there. Of course, the weather in the mountains is generally very different than what you're seeing in the plains. And coming up on 2,500. From the looks of it, that cloud layer that's basically a fog that's hugging the mountains to the north does not appear to be over where I believe the airport is. And we'll know a little bit better here soon enough. Plenty of room to turn in here if we needed to. I would make a left 180. Stay away from that high elevation terrain off of our right wing. Still following the river. And we're 12 out. There's some smoke on the ground. It'll give us another indication of what's happening down there, most likely. All right, coming up on 2,000, I'm going to add some power. Level off. Okay, we're getting some of that thermal activity off the mountains there. To our right. Getting a terrain warning from for flight, understandably. And we're going to switch tanks. Reset our timer. Mears traffic, Turkey 7428 Romeo is 10 to the west. Planning a straight in for runway 7, traffic permitting Mears.
Skagit Regional Airport, automated weather observation 2037 Zulu. Wind 17.
All right, we're going to continue descending now to pattern altitude. See what we got up ahead.
4 knots. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition broken at 10,000. Temperature 13 Celsius. Dew point 6 Celsius. Altimeter 3.
We're now 9 miles.
3 inches of mercury. Skagit Regional Airport, automated weather observation 2038 Zulu. Wind 160 at 5 knots. Peak
Going to go ahead and set up our pre-landing checklist. Fuel pumps on and mixture set to full rich. We're on the fullest tank.
sky condition broken at 10,000. Temperature 13
8.6 to go.
6 Celsius. Altimeter
Going to get a better look at that smoke up ahead.
inches of mercury.
See what the wind is doing, if anything at all.
Automated weather observation 2039er Zulu. Wind 160 at 5 knots. Peak gusts
8 to go.
4 knots.
There's 1,600.
10. Sky condition few at 8,000. Broken at 10,000. Temperature 13 Celsius. Dew point 6 Celsius. Altimeter
Should be a body of water off to the right.
inches of mercury.
And Mears Field is nestled right in that notch straight ahead of us.
Automated weather observation 2039er Zulu.
Coming up on pattern altitude.
0 at
Going to go ahead and trim for that.
gusts 1
Hold this airspeed right at about 90.
0. Sky condition few at 8,000. Broken
There's some thermal activity.
temperature 13 Celsius. Dew point 6 Celsius. Altimeter 3043 inches of mercury.
6 to go.
Skagit Regional Airport, automated weather observation 2040 Zulu. Wind 160 at 5 knots. Peak gusts 10.
Still looking for the airport. I don't have it spotted yet. Getting a lot of traffic alert warnings.
At 8,000.
Again, understandably.
Broken at 10,000. Temperature 1.
Mears traffic, Turkey 742 Romeo is 5 to the west. Planning a straight in runway 7, traffic permitting Mears.
Skagit Regional Airport, automated weather observation 2041 Zulu. Wind 160 at 5 knots. Peak gusts 14 knots. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition few at 8,000. Broken at 10,000. Temperature 13 Celsius. Dew point 6 Celsius. Altimeter 3043 inches of mercury.
Still looking.
Skagit Regional Airport, automated weather observation 2041 Zulu. Wind 170 at 6 knots. Peak gusts 14 knots. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition few at 8,000. Broken at 10,000.
Showing 4.7 out.
13 Celsius. Dew point 6 Celsius. Altimeter 3043 inches of mercury. Skagit Regional Airport, automated weather observation 2.
Leveling off here at 1,000.
Zulu. Wind 170 at 6 knots. Peak gusts 14 knots. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition few at 8,000. Broken at 10,000. Temperature 1.
I see it now.
Dew point 6 Celsius.
Right at 12 o'clock.
30
just on the other side of this ridge, and when I did the 3D flight planning view, that's what it showed, this little ridge right here. Of course, the 3D flight path had us going right through that. Naturally, we're going to be going around it. Yeah, I'm going to stay further straight in runway 7 based on some smoke I see down there on the ground. Mears traffic, Cherokee 7428 Romeo is 3 to the west, planning straight in runway 7. Traffic permitting Mears. In fact, there's not much wind at all. Go ahead and add some flaps. There's 10 degrees. Gonna hug this ridge line just here to our right. All right, airspeed's looking good. Rate of descent is looking good. And second notch, 20 degrees. Flaps is set. Like we're going to be dropping in right over those treetops. Airspeed's looking good. That runway looks a little rough. And the windsock checks with what we expected. It looks like we're going to have just what we want, a headwind. Coming in, final notch. Aiming for the numbers. Everything is looking good. And landing. Power back. And on the ground. Flaps track. Not sure where they're going to have that passport amp. Mears traffic, Cherokee 7428 Romeo is back, taxi, runway 25 Mears. That's a pretty sight. Super cool. There's a fuel pump. I'm gonna guess that most likely the passport stamp's gonna be down there. Usually they're in a green mailbox. What a beautiful setting. Right here in the middle of the mountains. Now, find a place to park. Like some tie downs there to the left. All right. Going to do a shutdown here. So we're turning off COM nav 1, COM nav 2, transponder, strobe, beacon landing light, master switch. Okay, so a couple things I learned, one of which is that when you turn the master switch off, the audio stops recording into the GoPro, which was not the case with FlightLink. The other thing is you don't get any engine sound during flight. I kind of like a little bit of engine sound in the background, so it's going to take a little bit more experimentation. So this concludes the flight portion from Tacoma Narrows to Mears Field. And now I'm just going to add a couple of videos I took on the ground so that you can see what the airport looks like. Okay, so here we are on the ground at Mears. Just going to kind of do a little panorama here to give you a look around. And this is the super cool welcome sign they have to Mears Field. It's all metal. That's totally awesome. And then over here we have like an old-timey looking sign that says Winsauk, S-A-U-K. And then there's some mountains off in the distance. Now let's go find our passport stamp. Okay, we got our stamp. There's Mears Field. Check out that super cool stamp right there, First Air. That's, I think, my favorite stamp so far. Okay, here we are departing the airport on runway 7. I wanted to include this video because it's a super cool airport to take off from. You climb out to about 1,000 feet and you make a tight right turn on the right downwind, and then I departed to the west. There's ridge lines and high mountains just to the south of the airport, so you have to keep your pattern really tight on your right turn. So here we are on rollout. Looking for 75 on the airspeed indicator. And there it is. And off the ground. So we're going to be climbing straight out here, and we're looking for about 900 feet. And then I made a 30-degree bank turn to the right to make sure we stayed clear of the ridgeline and the mountains off to the south. Those mountains go over 7,000 feet there, and the airport elevation, keep in mind, is just under 300 feet. And there's the meandering river just off to the right, below the right wing there. Yeah, you can see me looking around carefully just to make sure that we're going to be clearing all of the obstructions and the terrain in the area. So we're doing a normal VY climb at 85 miles an hour here. And here we started our right turn. So again, here we're turning at a 30-degree bank angle. Just want to, not only was there mountains just to the west there, now in front of the airplane, but also there's some low-lying clouds and fog just sort of hugging that ridge there. And then as we make our right turn, you see that ridge that we saw on the way in, also the same ridge that we saw on the 3D version of the flight plan that we looked at before making this video. So now there's the airport down below us to the right. And then we're making a straight climb out to the west, and then we made our left turn and pretty closely followed the flight path that we followed into the airport, except that we, instead of going southbound to Tacoma Narrows, we turned into Arlington, and that's where we got fuel. Again, I wanted to make sure I included this because it's really a gorgeous valley to fly through. So there's a lake off to the right. And the mountains off to the right side there are about 4,000 to 5,000 feet. And then off to the left, they're 7,000 to 8,000 feet. Okay, that wraps up our flight for today. As always, thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.